How's it going, everyone? Jimmy here. Today I want to talk about the VTrigger 2 of Ryu and why I think it's pretty bad. Now, I've already kind of talked about this topic before when Capcom showed us the first trailer that showcased the VTrigger 2. I already had a suspicion back then that it's going to be pretty bad, and now that we've finally got our hands on the new VTrigger, I can absolutely confirm this is like trash tier VTrigger. But there are different perspectives you can take on this, so let's start with some positive aspects about it. So for casual players, I think this VTrigger 2 is perfect. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's also very easy to use. That's very important. You just activate VTrigger 2, and whenever you think your opponent is going to hit a button, you just press VTrigger, and if you're right, you get a lot of damage from that. So it's a very casual friendly VTrigger, and it also amplifies the mind game. So if you're the kind of player that has friends over for some casual Street Fighter every once in a while, I think you're going to be very happy. It's a lot of fun to use, and it creates a lot of really cool moments in Street Fighter V. The VTrigger 2 parry has some interesting properties. So it has only 2-frame startup, which is very nice. It's faster than his regular parry, and it leads into some very specific punish situations that you cannot pull off with the regular parry. You can do a VTrigger 2 parry on a jump in, for example, and it'll lead into a full punish. And if you do a regular parry on a jump in, most of the time you will not get anything out of that. On top of that, the obvious one is probably Dhalsim's limbs. That's very nice. Even if you're full screen away, if you do a VTrigger 2 parry on Dhalsim's limbs, you will get the crumple state and Dhalsim will be next to you, which is a very big deal, obviously. One that isn't as obvious is how the VTrigger 2 interacts with projectiles. So if you do a VTrigger 2 parry on a sonic boom, and Guile is very close to that sonic boom, you will actually get hit by the parry, and it'll activate the crumple state, and you get a punish for that. That is very interesting because the regular parry, if you parry a normal sonic boom, you will not get a punish out of that. So that's pretty unique. So let's talk about some bad aspects about Ryu's new VTrigger, and for that we really have to compare it to VTrigger 1. So you could try to argue that Ryu's VTrigger 1 has never been one of the good VTriggers in the game. It's pretty trash tier compared to other characters, but in Season 3 it did get some significant buffs, so you can throw double the amount of fireballs now, which is a very big deal. You can do EX Fireball into VTrigger cancel, which guarantees a lot of pressure. Even on block, you can safely dash up and pressure your opponent. That's a big deal because Ryu struggles exactly with that. He doesn't really have a lot of tools to apply pressure, and this helps significantly. Overall, like there are a bunch of other things that get improved, obviously, but you get the idea. Ryu is basically in a powered up state when you activate VTrigger 1 for a fixed amount of time, and it's a prolonged amount of time because of the significantly improved fireball properties. You don't waste all of your VTrigger just from throwing one fireball nowadays. So you get guaranteed value from that. Ryu is a pretty scary character in VTrigger 1, and now we have to compare that to VTrigger 2. So what do you actually gain from activating VTrigger 2? I mean, obviously we have to compare it to his regular parry, right? And I've already mentioned a couple of very specific situations where VTrigger 2 parry beats regular parry. But those are very specific situations, and especially the jump in situation is a very bad example anyways, because yes, you get a guaranteed punish if you do VTrigger 2 parry, but at the same time, this is not the way to do this. If someone jumps in on you, you really want to do a Shoryuken anti-air, because that's the guaranteed thing that works. If your opponent knows, especially because if you activate VTrigger 2, your opponent knows you can parry that, right? So like what I actually do in order to counter that, I've seen a lot of Ryu players try out VTrigger 2, but not a lot of Ryu players, but some of them tried it out, and they it's so obvious when they want to go for that. So every time they activate VTrigger 2, all I have to do is jump in on them, do an empty jump, they will whiff a parry, and I get a free crush counter. Like, that blows my mind because it's so easy to bait out. So you should never do a VTrigger 2 parry on a jump in. It's unbelievably risky, and especially if you're playing against an opponent that has a brain. So if you're playing on a competitive level, this is a no-go. You should never try to parry a jump in go for the guaranteed stuff. You want to be consistent with whatever you're doing. So this is my main issue I have with the VTrigger 2 parry. It's just not a lot better than his regular parry. So, and that really blows my mind, because it needs to be a lot better than his regular parry, because otherwise the VTrigger 2 just does not have any reason to even exist. The damage output needs to be a lot better when you get the VTrigger 2 parry, or at the very least, like, what really bothers me as well is you only get 4 parry attempts. So if you do a VTrigger 2 parry, it consumes 25% of your bar. Blows my mind. Like, why is that the case? Why is there just like this really super narrow opportunity to even get the VTrigger 2 parry when it's this bad? Like, when it's literally as useful as his V skill. Like, it just really begs the question, why doesn't it even exist? Let's compare this to VTrigger 1 once again, because as I said, VTrigger 1 gives you some guaranteed opportunities and consistent pressure, which is very important. So VTrigger 1 is obviously useful. When you activate VTrigger 1, you get something out of it. And if you compare that to VTrigger 2, that's actually like, it blows my mind how bad this is, because not only is it not really useful, but you're basically more likely to lose a match by activating VTrigger 2, because against a strong opponent, he's gonna be looking for those whiffed parry attempts. And it's kind of hilarious for Capcom as well to make the recovery of the VTrigger 2 parry worse than the original parry. Just blows my mind. It's like Capcom is basically asking you to whiff a parry and get punished for it just so you see how useless it is. It's unbelievable. Like, Capcom is really trying to make sure everyone gets a free crush counter when you whiff a parry. It's so bad. It's really bad. So not only are you not getting something from the VTrigger 2, you're actually losing a match specifically when you activate VTrigger 2. So it can be worse than having no VTrigger, and at best, like, let's try to figure out, like, what's the average situation that you're going to be into when you activate VTrigger. You like let's say on average you get 1 parry successfully. Okay, that's very optimistic, by the way, but let's say you get 1 parry. Okay, but on average you will also whiff 3 parries. Okay, like, you get 4 parry attempts, so you will whiff 3 parries, and you really have to hope, and you really have to be super lucky your opponent does not punish you with a crush counter, which is absolutely going to happen. You're going to eat 3 crush counters because you attempted the VTrigger 2 parry, and you get 1 successful one if you don't happen to die before you get the chance to, right? Now, all of that sounds pretty bad, but let's try to be optimistic here. Like, seriously, if you're a competitive player and you want to make VTrigger 2 work, what would you do? How would you do that? And I think the best way to use VTrigger 2 is by activating and never actually going for the parry. Because one thing that really Ryu struggles with is applying pressure, right? And like, Ryu automatically loses the neutral game to most characters, but if you activate VTrigger 2, I really have to say, your opponent is going to play defensively. And if they play defensively, it's going to make it so that you get free dash-in attempts, for example, because they really can't afford to press a button a lot. So that's something, like, that's probably the most consistent way to use VTrigger 2. If you're a competitive player, activate VTrigger 2 and never use it. Never actually use it. This is gonna really, by itself, just by activating, it's gonna make it so that your opponent is gonna second guess every decision whenever he presses a button, and that can be a big deal. So yeah, I guess there is some room to explore for the VTrigger 2. As you can tell, I'm not very optimistic about it, especially not with the way it's implemented right now. I'm not a big fan of how the crumple state works with the VTrigger 2 at the moment. I think it's kind of bad that you can only follow up with the Shoryuken afterwards. It would have been really nice to get a solar plexus, because then you can choose whether you want to go for the damage with the Shoryuken, or if you want to get a better Oki situation with the Tatsu, for example. The combo obviously would need a lot more scaling, because as it is right now, the VTrigger 2 parry does a lot of damage, and the follow-up Shoryuken also has basically no scaling, right? So I would love to see more scaling, but more options for the player to choose from afterwards, especially because they were going for this focus attack look, right? It kind of looks like Ryu hits a focus attack when you get the successful VTrigger 2 parry. And in Street Fighter 4, it was basically a bread and butter combo to do focus attack, dash up into solar plexus. You might as well give it to Ryu in Street Fighter 5 as well. And yeah, I think that would make it a lot better, but who knows? Who knows what Capcom has planned? It's just very, very bad the way it is right now. So yeah, guys, with all of that being said, I want to share some footage of me trying out VTrigger 2 against Dhalsim players, because it's the most obvious matchup to use VTrigger 2 in. I still believe that it's debatable whether VTrigger 2 is even better against Dhalsim, and that just goes to show how terrible VTrigger 2 is. When it's not even obvious it's the better choice against Dhalsim, you really know you kind of screwed up on that. So yeah, keep in mind, I'm not optimally using VTrigger 2. As I said, I think the best way to use VTrigger 2 is by almost never even attempting the parry. And in the footage that you're gonna see, you'll see me use a lot of parries, okay? And I'm gonna fail a lot as well. And yeah, it's not necessarily a good way to showcase how to optimally use VTrigger 2, but you get the idea when watching the footage. So I really hope you're gonna enjoy that. Definitely let me know what you think about the VTrigger 2. I mean, I see a lot of people disagreeing with me on that. I think all of the major Ryu players agree that VTrigger 2 is bad, but if you have a different opinion, or if you have a different take on how to use VTrigger 2, I'm definitely interested in that, so please leave a comment in the comment section below. So yeah, guys, enjoy the clips, so take care, and I'll see you soon. Like, there are different ways to fix Ryu. Give him a better fireball. That's gonna be one way to do it. Or give him better buttons.
Round 2. Fight.
I can't believe I won with VTrigger 2.
You win. Round 1. Fight.
Oh damn, I was barely outside the range. Oh, take a look at the lag though. The dancer! Oh my god, no! I should have just grabbed. That's the best solution there.
Final round.
Or EXDP. EXDP, raw EXDP. It was totally my fault. What? Oh man, I can't believe this.
You win. Round
But
one.
with Guile, if you get one jump in from a fireball, for example, from Sonic Boom, then you're gonna be in good shape. Silencio, what's up, dude?
Round
VTrigger 2 is mostly a waste, Oliver, but against Dulcim you can think about using it. It's not that bad against Dulcim. That was not what I wanted, by the way. It was supposed to be light DP into super.
final round.
That cost me the entire round, by the way. That super mistake.
Fight!
Damn, I'm getting wrecked.
Round 2. Fight!
This guy's baiting me really hard.
Final round. Fight!
I'm killing myself. No! I messed up. How did I win this? I almost killed myself with the VTrigger 2, and then I still won. Unbelievable.